Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trodaire. Wow, what a first podcast, eh? That was amazing. I just want to say so much. Thank you for all the love and support you guys have been giving me. It's been really amazing to see. You guys. We got top 40 in the nation for podcasts, and that was pretty cool. For our first ever podcast, that's mad. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. That was so amazing. And for our first podcast, I didn't expect so much support from the boys, all my mates at school and just from the wider community. I got people reaching out to me saying they really enjoyed it and they listened to it. And people you just wouldn't expect. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it so much, and I enjoy making these and enjoy getting the support, getting the feedback from you guys. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you got any things that I need to fix up, just let me know. And problem with the mics, problem with the camera, just let me know. But yeah, where to start? It's just been a couple weeks. Pardon me. What to talk about? I guess we'll start with. Oh, also, if you got any questions you want to send me in, because we'll be answering you guys' questions today. Stuff you're dealing with and stuff you want to get advice on. Don't be afraid to just send them to me on Instagram. They can be anonymous. Just text me that they're going to be anonymous, and that's sweet as. I guess we crack into it. I think to start this off, we'll do a bit of a checkup on how I am, a mental checkup. I am feeling good. I was feeling a bit stressed in the week after the first podcast. I felt overwhelmed, I guess. And funny enough, though, we talked about that in that podcast, and I probably should have taken that advice. To be honest with you, I didn't. And it just was down to the fact that I was just doing too much, and I was trying to do it all by myself, and I needed to just reach out and just go, hey, can you help me with this? I'd really appreciate it. I can't do everything right now, and I can't be everywhere at once. I just need to step back. So, I am thankful that I had that experience, because it took me to do that, to step back now, where I'm at the point where I know where I'm going to get overwhelmed with work, or I know I'm going to get overwhelmed with I know when I'm going to be doing too much, and I'll be able to just be no, I'm good. I'm all good. I can't do that. I apologize. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I got too much. I can't do it right now. Come back to me in another week and maybe I can, Come back to me tomorrow, maybe I can, but I can't do it right now. And coming into a time of assessments and due dates and tests, I have exams next week. It'll probably be this week when this comes out, but I probably need to be putting more focus on my study more than anything. So, and getting these assignments done. I have tutoring right after this, and I have not done what I said I was going to do for the tutor. So I probably need to get on board with that. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized. Feeling ready to rock and roll, get back into it. Looking forward to the holidays. Holidays are gonna be good. They're coming up on us pretty quick. But just even when I'm looking at the holidays, I have a busy holiday. You know what I mean? I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And maybe I just need to take that step back on those holidays and just be let's have a day to relax. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. And maybe this is a sign for you guys to think about what you're doing in your life, and if you are getting overwhelmed with stuff, just say to your parents, say to your mate, can you I need to take a step back. Is that all right? And 9 times out of 10 they will. They'll help you and they'll talk to you about it and talk to you how to get over it. And yeah, but sweet as. Let's go into these questions. I reckon we are short for time today, so let's start with this one from Anonymous. Hey Tiernan, how do you stay motivated? Okay, good question. Thank you for sending that in. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. That's a good question. How do I stay motivated? I touched on it a bit last week. On the fact that to be honest with you, I don't stay motivated with anything that I do. I don't stay motivated with anything I do. I just do it. Like obviously you get motivated to do something, but like I normally like, for example, rugby. I normally get motivated to do rugby when I'm watching rugby, not when I'm doing rugby. You know what I mean? I don't like with boxing or any sport. If I'm talking about it in the sport aspect, the only time I'm motivated to do it is when I'm watching it, because I'm like, oh, I know what that feels like. That's so much fun. But then when I'm there, I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? So that's like motivated. I don't really like live off motivation. I normally just get over it, get it over and done with, because that's how you build motivation. A better motivation. You do it when you don't have motivation. I remember a good quote from I think it was Jocko Willink. He's a pretty famous guy. He's Navy SEAL. I think he's a Navy SEAL commander or Navy SEAL. I don't know, but I listened to him, and he was saying, "Do it without the do it when you don't have motivation." Because you'll have motivation on Monday maybe, but then when you have to wake up a Tuesday morning the next day and you have to do the same thing, you're going to have no motivation to do that. It's great having motivation. Motivation is one of the best things in the world. 4 or 5 minutes, like you have motivation for all of 5 minutes. Motivation is to, do something for 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes later your mind's on another thing and you're like, oh, maybe I should go do that. And I'm like that all the time. I'm not perfect. I wake up some mornings and I'm like for rugby, I wake up some mornings and I'm like, I don't want to go to the gym this morning. Like this morning I was like, I don't want to go to the gym. This is Seeb. I cannot be bothered. I'm so tired. And my mum's like, you're going to the gym. For schoolwork, if we're talking about schoolwork and work and stuff like that, I think it's something like, I like to look at work and stuff like schoolwork as less of motivation. I like to look at it in like the aspect of, this is going to sound funny, but like weird, but like I remember this old sort of story of like, imagine you had to eat a frog every day, right? This is going to sound, stay with me, this is going to sound weird. Imagine you had to eat a frog every day, right? And it doesn't matter when you eat it in the day, you got to eat this frog. Like you can eat it at 12 o'clock, you can eat it at 12 a.m., you can eat it at 12 p.m., you can eat it whenever in the day, but you have to eat this frog every day. It's inevitable. This frog, you're going to have to eat it, right? Now, most people would say like, I'm going to put it off, I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to wait as long as possible. And then your mind's on it the whole day. It's grueling. It's grueling because you're thinking about this frog. It's taking up your mind space. Or the other person goes, I'm just going to eat the frog. I'm just going to eat the frog at the start of the day. I'm just going to eat the frog at the start of the day, get it out of the way, right? The frog is the work. The analogy is frog is work, right? Frog is work, and you just get it done. I'm not the best at schoolwork. I'm like, not that I'm not smart or anything like that. Not that I am smart. I'm a bit average with schoolwork. But, with schoolwork, I'm not, I do have some pretty shocking study habits. But when I do get in that groove, like, I just get it done. Like, I just get it over and done with and get in that groove. And once I'm in that groove, it's sort of like hard to get out of it. I'm sort of locked into that, and I want to keep working. Like mum and dad will come to dinner, I'll be like, nah, I'm ready. I'm working here. I'm working. I'm moving. Moving forward. I'm flowing. Like my mind's on the topic. But how to stay motivated? I really, to answer, like, just as a baseline answer and to answer your question, I think I have answered it. Hopefully, if I haven't, I do apologize. But how to stay motivated? Do it without motivation. Do anything without motivation. Do it because you have to do it. The motivation will come. The motivation will come and go. It will be here some days and it won't be. If I lived my life on how much motivation I had to do something, I would not be sitting here in this podcast studio talking to you. I would probably, I don't know where I'd be. you know. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, because I do not, some days I do wake up and I have no motivation, no drive at all to do anything. And it is difficult when you don't have that drive to get up and do something. But you just got to do it. You just got to get over and done with and do it, because, that's the way you move forward and succeed. That's the key to success. If you just get it over and done with, do it on the days you're tired. And like I said last week, some of the best boxing sessions I've ever had and best sports sessions I've ever had is when I didn't want to go. Some of the best gym sessions I've ever had is when I didn't want to go. You find something new about yourself when you do it when you don't want to do it. You know what I mean? You find a new perspective on who you are when you do something when you don't want to do it. So, to answer your question, do it when you don't want to do it. Do it without motivation. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next question. I do apologize, if I'm moving quickly through today. It's just that I have got tutoring on this afternoon, and I do not want to be late. I do not want to be late at all. So, okay. We got a question from Izzy. Izzy, this one's for you, mate. Good, you're a good bloke. Izzy asks, "Hey Tiernan, how do you stay confident with doing things in your life, and how do you overcome failure?" Izzy, that's a good question. Let me read that again. Okay. How do I stay confident? I'll break it down into two. Let's start with the top. The first one. How do I stay confident? I think confidence is a bit of a facade. Obviously people can be confident, when they're playing when they're with their group of mates, they're confident. You're confident. You're not gonna be like, "Oh, step back. I don't like this." Obviously, you're gonna be confident. With your family, you're confident. With all sorts of things, you're confident. But how do you stay confident when doing things in your life? So I'm approaching this question as how do you stay confident when you're doing something you're unfamiliar to, or you're not sure how to do it or something like that? And I'd say fake it till you make it. Look confident, because if you look confident, people will believe you're confident and believe that you know what you're doing. That's not to say that you can't ask for help when you don't know what you're doing. Because you can be confident and ask for help. I do it all the time. In in my economics class, for example, sometimes boys will be talking about something like the assignment we're doing, and I'll come over, and I've been doing economics for a couple of years, but they still don't know some of the stuff. I'll come over and I'll just be like, "Oh, bro, so this, right?" So I'd preface it with asking them a question first, before asking them the question, answering the question, and then asking the question you want to answer. You want an answer to. So I'll be like, "Oh, mate, you know what this is, right?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, yeah." And I'll be like, "Yeah, it's this, this, this." And they'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, exactly." I'll be like, "Okay, yeah, yeah." And then what is this? Do you know what this is? And then I'll be like, and they'll explain it to me, right? Now I hope they think that, I know what I'm talking about. And I'd even suggest if it's in conversation, if you're talking about in a conversation or in a social aspect, pretend you know what they're talking about. I do it a lot. When I'm with my mates and stuff like that, I will literally just walk in, not rudely. I won't really just come in and just be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I know you would." I'll just walk up to them, listen for a second, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, what do you think about this?" I used to do it in grade 5, in grade 5 and 6 and 7 coming through school. I always found it a little bit difficult to match personalities with people and find a common ground. So I learnt a skill of just going, listening into them and listening to what they like, and then telling them a little bit of what I like, but like mainly playing on the fact that they like this sport and finding that balance of like, so if they like chess, I'll be like, oh, when I was in grade 4, I played in the chess club. When I was in grade 4, I played in the chess club and I did this. And then you found that. So they think like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. He's done this before. Let's talk a bit further to him. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's move forward with this conversation, because we can find a place to sit on. Come back to even. But if you're talking about in like a physical aspect or a physical aspect, I'd probably say like in the gym, how do you stay confident? In the gym, I heard a good thing once, and they was saying like everyone's so focused on themselves, they're too busy focusing on themselves, they can't focus on you. Like no one's really watching you in the gym. And I get like for me, when I started going to the gym, I always thought like, oh, if I wear a certain type of clothing or like if it doesn't, I'd always like try and make my like, I don't know, I just try and be like, I don't know how to explain it. Like I try to look the part. Like I'd try to be like look like I go to the gym. And I just needed to like stop focusing on other people and caring what they think, because, they don't care. People genuinely don't really, play in too much about what other people, like they're not thinking, I'm not thinking about people in my head constantly. I'm thinking about me constantly. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm thinking about what I'm doing the next day. I'm thinking about what I did last week. You know what I mean? So people I hope this doesn't sound rude, but people genuinely are sometimes too focused on themselves to be focusing on other people. And that's another thing. If you don't focus on what other people think, you genuinely become more confident and outwardly approach life with more confidence. I always live by like, if it's going to be a good story, do it. And you sort of attract confidence when you're not outwardly looking to be confident and push that out. I know I just said like 2 or 3 minutes ago, like fake it till you make it. But you can also approach it from the fact like if you're not worried about what other people think, like you're going to be confident. You know what I mean? That's like a guarantee. If you don't care what other people think, if you just do it for you, like for me, for this podcast, it was quite confronting to do this because I didn't know how people would react. I was thinking about what other people think, but I did it anyway. I did it anyway. That's sort of a bit of confidence there. Pardon me. But yeah, take on that. Like 2 ways to approach it is fake it till you make it. And that can only last for so long. If I can go back on that can only last for so long. Like eventually, like you will need to show for that confidence that you're protruding. But the other one is just don't care what other people think. It's your life at the end of the day. You're the one that has to live with what you do. You know what I mean? You're the person that has to, look yourself in the mirror every day. So why not live 100%, That's what I'd say to that. But yeah, that's I'll touch on that. But the other question that Izzy asked is, and how do you overcome failure? This is a good question. I like this topic because I was talking to someone about this the other day. I was talking with good mate Tate about failure. How do I overcome failure? I think failure is so important. Let's start it off like that. Failure is so important. Failure is like, man, every time I failed, it has been for the best. It has been for the best. Failure is so important, so crucial to a person's development. And failure can be in anything. Failure can be in like, it doesn't like failure is so, so important. I can't preface it enough. Failure is what makes a man. Failure is what makes a man. Right? And I look at failure now, like I used to look at failure as such a negativity, such a negative mindset. Like, oh, you failed. Like, can you believe that? Like you're a loser because you failed. You know, that's how I used to look at it. But now I look at it as like, it's a place where you grow and find like who you are. Failure is what makes, you better. And failure normally comes before succeeding. You know, every case that I've had of failure, I've succeeded right after. And sometimes, God puts failure in our lives, and it teaches us a lesson where we need to learn that, we need this failure. Sometimes it grounds us. Failure sometimes grounds us. God grounds us with failure sometimes. Sometimes you need to go through a season of failure to come out in a season of victory. I remember when I was in grade 9? Grade 9 going into grade 10. I remember I was grade 9 and I didn't make this, top rugby squad. Well, not top rugby squad, but like one of the rugby squads at school. And, other boys did. And I was so negative with my mindset there. It held me down. And in a case, it held me back. Held me back from like looking at it and going, I failed. What am I going to do to improve? What am I going to do to not fail next time? Why did I fail? Why did I not get to that level? I needed to reflect on why I failed and why I didn't make the rugby team, but instead I became negative and I let it rule my mindset. And I let it affect my relationships with people, like friends. It became who I was, in a sense. And it's not a big deal. Like that's just like a case of when it's happened. But I fail all the time. I fail in every aspect of life all the time, and it's okay. It's okay. You're not going to succeed all the time. And if you do succeed all the time, you're never going to appreciate the success that you have. I'm so thankful that I went through all those failures, because I'm so grateful for the success that I have had. That's not to say that I am, some big shot or something like that. I am not. I am not. I'm far from that. But you need failure. It is what will bring you to that next level. And failure will either break you or make you. And I know that's a bit cliche. But failure will either break you or make you, and you'll come out either end. But it's up to you to pick which side you'll be on. It's up to you to, let it break you, or it's up to you to let it make you. You'll either be better or worse, and either one you're going to learn, And it's also, failure is also like one of those things where you look back on it and you go, like, geez, I always look back on how I was thinking back then. Like if I look back on like my year 9 rugby, rugby team, and like how I played, and I always think like if I told him, my year 9 self now, where we are at in our rugby journey, I wonder what they'd say. They'd probably be so stoked, So you should welcome failure. You should welcome it, because once you let go of that fear of failing, you become better. You're more open. You're more more willing to take those risks, and sometimes and a lot of the time it's you take those risks and you don't get success from it, and you learn more from that because you're like, well, that didn't work. Let's find something new. That didn't work. Let's find something new. What will work? So I think that will answer your question, Izzy. But thank you for that. That was a really good question. I love talking about that. I love talking about failure because failure is genuinely like one of the, one of the best things ever. And we make our own failures. Like don't blame failure on someone else. Just take accountability for it. Because when you do, you move forward. Don't be like, I failed because of this guy or that guy or this guy. You failed because you didn't succeed. Simple as that. And I know that doesn't really make sense, but you failed because you didn't do the right thing. Or maybe you did do the right thing, it didn't work. Just remember that. But thank you, Izzy. Thank you for that question. Okay. All right. This is from Anonymous. And this is a pretty full-on question, so I'll try my best to answer it. How do you not give? Okay, it's long. How do you not give up or think something is going to take too long to get there when you don't know if you'll be there yourself to watch it happen? How do you not give up or think something is going to take too long to get there when you don't know yourself if you'll be there to watch it happen? That is a good question. I think you gotta think, like, I was thinking about what came to mind is like, I was thinking about you shouldn't think too far ahead. And I know that sounds a bit like you should have long-term goals. No doubt about that. But you shouldn't think what you're going to be doing. Like, you shouldn't be thinking about what you're going to be doing in 10 years' time. Don't worry about that. Think about what you're going to be doing tomorrow. Think about what you're going to be doing, in an hour's time. I always find that I look at these goals and I look at the stuff I've set and how high they are up in the mountain. And I always, you get it's a bit daunting to look at. It's a bit scary. Because you're like, how is that even possible? How would I ever get there? So much can go wrong in between. I could get injured. I could fall sick. I could die. Not to be too grim, but that's a very well possibility. You could, like, nothing's guaranteed. That's not to say you shouldn't live like it is, But I always like to, fall back on an old story or an old thing. Like, I don't know the story exactly, and I'm not going to try and recreate it, but it was something as like, don't focus on the whole journey. Focus on your next foot. Focus on your next step. One foot in front of the other, and you'll get there, The man who loves walking will get further than the man who loves the journey. The destination, apologies. The man who loves walking will go further than the man who loves a destination. And that's true. That is true. I mean, you shouldn't... Like, it's all about building. You got to build. You can't expect to be... If I can relate it back to me, I feel weird about doing that as well. I just like to let you guys know. Like, I feel weird when I relate it back to me. I can't be world champion today. I can't. Nothing in my power is going to make me world champion right now. I can't. I can't be world champion right now. What am I going to do about it? Nothing. I cannot do anything in my power to be world champion by the end of the day. I can't do anything. It's not possible. But what can I do to make myself world champion in 5 years? What can I do today that will get me to world champion in 5 years? I can train. I can run. I can eat well. I can stay positive. You know. And I'd just like to say, like, Steve Jobs, you know, all these great guys who've built big companies, built, you know, amazing legacies, they didn't know that they were going to be so successful, you know, when they were. They didn't know that it was going to take off like that. They didn't, like, you know, if Steve Jobs, rest in peace, was here today and saw Apple, do you think that he would have thought that Apple would be where it is today? Genuine question. Do you think that? Do you think he thought that? I don't know if he did or not, but he probably didn't. It's so fathomable. Sorry, that's a bit of a stutter. Fathomable to think what you're going to be doing, how you're going to get there. You know, how big you're going to be, how successful you're going to be. You know, it's just you're putting unrequired pressure on yourself. You need to be easier on yourself, you know? You can't do it all. You can't make things happen overnight. It's about building those blocks to get there eventually. No one climbs Everest in a day. No one does. I'd like to meet the man who did. Maybe someone has. I will look that up after the end of the podcast. Maybe someone has, but I'm pretty sure no one has climbed Everest in a day. You need to be easier on yourself. It's not gonna happen like that. And you putting this pressure on yourself to you know, think about these long-term goals as something like you don't know whether or not you're going to be there. You don't know whether or not you're going to achieve them. You don't know whether or not you're going to be able to get to where you are or get to the goal that you had. It's just, you know, you shouldn't be worrying like that. I get it. I do it a lot. I used to do it a lot. But then I realized, like, there's no point. I can't do anything. It's out of my control. Control the controllables and you'll be successful. Control what you can. I was talking to my good friend Liam McGarvey yesterday and he was freaking out. And Liam, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but he was freaking out because he had, you know, his English due on Monday. He had his economics due on Monday. He had his engineering due on Monday. Right, his engineering 6,000 words. He needs to write 6,000 words on his draft, he said. His economics is 1.5 words, and his K words. These are all K words. So 6,000, 1,500, and 2,000. And he you know, hadn't got to that point on either of them, any of them. And I said to Liam, which one are you closest to finishing? And he said, none of them. And I said, that's not true. Which one are you the closest to finishing? And he said, economics. And I said, right, then do your economics now. Finish your economics. Get it out of the way. Do it, you know. Do what you can. Do what you can now. And he said, I don't want to do economics. And I said, well, what's the next one? He said, engineering. I said, how many words? And he said, done 2,000. I said, well, do the 4,000 now. Do the 4,000 over the next 2 days. Get it done. Instead of you here complaining about it, instead of you here worrying about it, do what you can to control it. Do what you can to just get it done, you know? Because you here, you know, worrying about it is just wasted time. Worrying is just wasted time. You know, you're just filling in the space. You'd rather do something to improve yourself. Yeah? So to answer your question again. So to answer your question, I'll restate it. How do you not give up or think something is going to take too long to get there when you don't know if you'll be there yourself to watch it happen. What is your next step? Remember that. What is the next thing I can do to reach that goal? Things take time. Nothing is guaranteed, but things take time. And I guarantee if you do it step by step, you're going to feel less overwhelmed, less stressed, less worried, and you're going to enjoy the process a whole lot more. Take your time. Take your time. I assume you're probably my age. You got so much time ahead of you. And even if you're not, you still got so much time ahead of you. You're gonna get there eventually. You'll figure it out. Just think about what you can do next to improve yourself. To improve to that goal. Because 1, you're gonna succeed way more. 2, you're gonna enjoy it way more. 3, you're gonna set yourself a new goal. Because you're gonna reach it. You're gonna exceed the expectation. The expectations you put on yourself need to be exceeded. But go easy on yourself. I'm not saying, take a day off or take a week off or something like that. But be easy on yourself. You can't do everything at once. You can't be everywhere at once. You can't succeed all at once. Because if everyone did, everyone would be, millionaires, billionaires, everyone would be, world champion, everyone would be winning the Nobel Prize. It takes time. The process takes time. You're going to look back on this time and you're going to think, wow, I did not need to worry that much. Everything will be okay. What is the next step? And just remind yourself that. What is my next step? You're going to be good. I think I'm going to, that's all the questions today. There was heaps of questions, and I'd just like to preface and restate, I know a lot of boys sent and girls sent, and people just sent in general, sending questions. If I haven't answered your question today, you'll be answered in the future episodes. There was just too many to get done, and I was short on time today. We have a bit longer to go than I thought. So I just, I guess I'll just talk to you guys for a bit. But yeah, today we covered a couple of things. We covered motivation, we covered confidence. They both sort of link into each other, and we covered self-worth, not self-worth, sorry. We covered the two together, I guess. They sort of melded into the final question and how you need to be a bit, lighter on yourself, a bit easier and a bit more forgiving. But I'm so thankful for everyone. Thank you for sending the love and support. Thank you for sending in these questions. So thankful for that. And I got some big news. Actually, for you guys who stayed around, gonna hear some big news. Next episode, we will be having our first guest on. Now, I want you guys to guess. Text me who you think our next guest is. And also, if you want a guest on, it has to be reasonable. I do not have superpowers. I cannot get like Joe Rogan or the Prime Minister on this podcast. But text me who you'd like to see. If you would like to be on the podcast, text me. See if I can get you on. But we have a pretty big guest coming on next week. In the next couple of weeks. He's pretty big. And I've been friends with him for a while. But, he's doing pretty well for himself. And we have some other guests coming on later in the next coming weeks as well. That they're pretty cool. Went to school with those guys and now they own a shirt company. So we'll have to see what we can do. But yeah, to finish this, I just want to say, once again, thanks for the love and support, guys. Thanks for everything. So thankful for you all. All be great humans. Be easy on yourselves, guys. And share this podcast with people. Make sure to follow it on Spotify. I'm going to be making, some clips, posting those. So give those some love and support. And let me know if you got any questions, if you got any, things I need to fix up, things you'd like to see, people you'd like to see, topics you'd like to hear about. But yeah, that's Trodaire for today, boys. Episode 2, boys and girls, episode 2. And yeah, thank you.